Hello, this is Travis Booth with the National Weather Service in Missoula. This is your planning briefing for Sunday, February 6th. Looking at the week ahead, we're going to be on the eastern side of a ridge of high pressure, and so that's going to bring a considerable mix of sun and clouds throughout the week, generally above normal temperatures. There will be a day or two where the valleys may remain in inversions and not be quite as warm. May see a little bit of valley fog at times, but not expecting that to be too predominant. And one thing to keep in mind, we will see some weak disturbances come over the top of that ridge of high pressure and across the Northern Rockies, bringing brief periods of light snow. One disturbance stands out for late Monday into early Tuesday, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. There may be another weak disturbance Wednesday and then another on Friday also. So looking at the actual threat matrix, you can see we have Monday highlighted. That'd be mostly afternoon period through very early on Tuesday morning. Just some very light snow, and we'll talk about the numbers in just a second. And then as we get toward Friday, another disturbance stands out that could bring some light snow, especially for western Montana. Another thing to keep in mind through the week is that with the temperatures being slightly above normal most of the days, we may run into some ponding issues for some local roads, especially as some of those storm drains are clogged with snow and ice from the precipitation we've seen earlier. I don't think that'll be a major impact, but something to keep in mind. So as we look at the snowfall, that later Monday into early Tuesday period, this is the expected snowfall. Very light amounts. Certainly nothing stands out that's too groundbreaking. Let's see here. Mostly terrain based and mostly less than an inch, perhaps right along the divide here in the glacier region. We may see an inch or two. If we look at the percent of just experiencing 1/10 of an inch of snow or greater, you can see the areas that stand out, northwest Montana, and then especially the terrain, even if we're looking at north central Idaho. If we bump that up to the percent chance of an inch of snow or more for that late Monday, early Tuesday time period, you see things really get more defined to that glacier region, especially on the terrain. Another thing to kind of keep in mind is the west winds will be picking up this afternoon, being Sunday afternoon, and then again on Monday, especially on that US 2 corridor close to Mariah. So we may have a little bit of blowing snow in that area as well, something to keep in mind. But the main point, here's the high end amount as far as that later Monday, early Tuesday snow, and you can see a lot of less than inch amounts and 1 to 2 inch amounts focused in the Glacier Park region. So as you can see, not a very significant system and mostly just impacting the terrain. If we're talking about when does this ridge of high pressure that's focused along the west coast, when does it start to break down or start to move? So this is a graphic here that's showing the mid-level heights for the weekend time period, and I have highlighted kind of the Northern Rockies with this yellow box here. So you can see we do have some reflections of ridging. These are just model ensembles put together, and so this is just kind of different looks of of how the ridge may be at that point. And what you do see is we have a flatter ridge and more of a westerly flow, which may open up the possibility for a weaker system to impact the region over the weekend. We did talk about perhaps even as early as Friday seeing a bit of snow into western Montana. So that's kind of the first inklings of the ridge breaking down a week from now, so next weekend. And then if we look at early next week, a similar chart here, just looking at mid-level heights, which tells us there's a ridge of high pressure here, and then low pressure where these darker lines are concave here. So really what we're seeing in these model ensembles is at least a northwest flow in each of them, and some of them have a reflection of a trough, such as here, the cluster number 2, and then another cluster of ensembles number 4 shows that trough. So there's definitely a leaning toward the high, at least pushing further to the west and allowing more of a more active northwest flow, or even perhaps a trough over the region. That would be early for the the following week. So that kind of that time period of like 13th, 14th, 15th, right in there of February. If we look at the actual CPC graphics for that same time period, we're talking 13th through the 19th. You can see anywhere from near normal to slightly above normal for the precipitation, the trend there, so that reflects it pretty well. And then as far as the temperatures, near normal to slightly above normal, there's always that possibility of getting some Arctic pushes along the divide or into western Montana, but at this point it looks like most of that cold air stays further to the east during that 13th through 19th time period. Well, that's the end of this briefing. If you have any questions, obviously, please get a hold of us. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again on Thursday the 10th.